Hello, I'm Dr. Michelle DeMary, and I'll be your instructor for the next 4 weeks as we study the legal environment in Susquehanna University's Accounting 210 online course for July of 2020. This video is intended as a kind of first day of class video to introduce you to me a little bit, but most importantly to introduce you to the class, make you familiar with the syllabus and with our Blackboard site so that as we move quickly through material over the next 4 weeks, you will be able to find everything that you need. Basic information on the syllabus, as you find on any syllabus: my name, email, and phone contact. Either one of those I can be accessed at. That is my cell phone, but I prefer not to text with students, so phone calls would be preferred, or email as a preliminary means of communication. I am not going to hold regular office hours for the class. I've taught this class now probably 5 or 6 times. And in the course of doing that, I don't think I've ever had a student who's actually signed on during my office hours. So it's not the best use of my time to simply sit at my computer and wait for students. That doesn't mean I'm not willing to speak with you. I really am, at whatever time is convenient for you. So if there's material that we're doing in the class or that we're having any difficulty or you're having questions on, or if you just want to talk about the material, I'm very happy to do so. You simply need to email me and we can set up a time to either have an asynchronous email conversation or do something either via Zoom or a phone call to be able to have a conversation. So the fact that I'm not holding office hours regularly doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you. It just is a more efficient way to make use of my time and your time. So please do be in touch if there's any way that I can be of help to you, okay? Please note that I communicate predominantly with students by email, and so it's really important that you keep track of your Susquehanna email. That's where I will be checking in with you. If there's a change or anything that I require from you, it'll be sent to that email address. Our class moves, as I say in the next section of the syllabus here, very quickly over the course of 4 weeks. So I will make every effort to respond to any email from you as soon as possible, and I would simply ask that you do the same with me, okay? I would highlight here, and I think I highlight this several times in the syllabus and throughout the course, that we cover a lot of material in 4 weeks. It's possible that you could be spending 15 to 20 hours a week working on class material, but bear in mind what you're doing is covering the same amount of material you would be covering if you were in a 14-week class. We just simply condense it into 4 weeks. Because of the pace at which the class works, it's really important that you communicate with me any challenges that you might be having, because Friday deadlines remain Friday deadlines whether or not you run up against challenges. And we're going to move through the class pretty quickly. And so it's really important that you communicate any challenges you have, especially as we move into the next session here about technology. Almost everything that you can access on this course, that you need for this course, can be accessed via Blackboard. So it's really important that you be able to get onto Blackboard and to use it. From folks at our IT department, I understand that Blackboard works best if on, I think I say Firefox, better than Explorer. So you might want to consider using that. You will be able to access all of this material much better if you use a laptop or a desktop computer. A phone or a tablet might make it accessible, but it doesn't guarantee that everything's going to be accessible. So I definitely suggest you try to do this on either a desktop or a laptop computer, okay? If you're having any difficulty accessing Blackboard or using the Zoom application that we will use for our synchronous class sessions, it's really important that you be in touch with IT, and their contact information is in fact on here. You can contact me, but I will simply put you in touch with them because they're the experts. If you email them and you want to copy me, that's fine. That way I'll know that you're having trouble. And maybe they'll respond a little more quickly knowing that the faculty member's been copied. I don't know. In addition, if you have any trouble accessing MindTap, which is the program we will use through our publisher, through Cengage, you should be in touch with them directly. There's information on here as well as on the Blackboard site about how to do that. My experience has been that for the most part, holidays aside, they're pretty good at responding immediately to problems that students may have, and they actually have a 24/7 number that you should be able to call if you're having trouble accessing. Again, you can call me and let me know about the problem, but I will forward you to them to be able to help to resolve it. So do include me in the conversation, but know that it's probably as efficient if you get in touch with them directly as well, okay? Okay, so more basics. The textbook. I think I've contacted all of you to let you know what textbook we're using, that you can access it either through Susquehanna's bookstore or through the publisher directly. What you really need is the access code, and that you're paying about $100 for. I'm sorry for that. I wish I could make it free, but this is the same text that the accounting department uses during the academic year for this class, and so I wanted to try and stay consistent with that. The access code will give you access to all of the assignments, most of the assignments that we're doing for this class, except for the few that I designed, and to an electronic version of the textbook. So you would be able to access just about anything you will need. In a moment, I will show you what the MindTap site looks like so you can become familiar with that, okay? But as I say in here, remember, Blackboard is your friend. You will need to access Blackboard to access just about anything else in this class. So be sure that you're using a computer or a desktop, and preferably Firefox, that will enable you to get onto Blackboard as easily as possible. You might also notice, if you haven't looked at it yet, that they're moving toward a new version of Blackboard. At the present moment for the summer, it operates pretty similarly to the old one. They haven't activated it yet, but it's going to look different when we go on, so you will notice that as well. Okay. Next two items on the syllabus are my expectations or my hope for what you will learn in the class. The course overview is pretty brief, but it says that if you're going to be involved in business in any way in the United States, you are going to interact with the law and with the government. And so it's probably to your advantage to have at least a preliminary understanding of how those interactions work. It's my hope that this course will give you some sense of that, so that you will learn about some of the elements listed here in the bullets, or hopefully all of them. They may not all make sense now, but that's why you're taking the class, so that they will make more sense by the time we get through our 4 weeks together. You will also find that this class fulfills both the interdisciplinary and ethics intensive requirements of Susquehanna's central curriculum, and therefore the learning elements of those two central curriculum requirements are also included on the syllabus. They're the same learning goals you would find regardless of which interdisciplinary or ethics intensive class you are taking. And with both of those components in mind, some of the assignments have been designed, especially some of the video reaction papers you will write, most notably to think particularly about the ethical questions involved in some business decision making. Is there a line between what is required ethically and is required legally? What is that line? How should we think about those differences? And so we will explore some of those questions throughout the course of the next 4 weeks. There's a privacy statement here that should be on every syllabus that is presented for a summer or winter session. It is a statement that says you shouldn't cheat, effectively. That in fact we know that there are ways, particularly because we are not together in the classroom, that you would be able to, for instance, maybe give your access code to somebody else and they could take the quizzes for you. Don't do it. We do have some ways through back channel of seeing whether or not that occurs. In my almost 30 years of teaching now, I have learned that students will cheat. I wish they wouldn't. In my estimation, you're hurting yourself a whole lot more than you're hurting anybody else. I will do what I can to make sure that doesn't happen. But in the long run, you're shortchanging yourself in the learning process, and that's really what you're paying for. So I encourage you not to do it, but this statement also says that if you do find some way to work around and not do the work yourself, you will in fact be penalized for it. Okay. So bear that in mind. Now, what everybody wants to know when they take a class is, what do I have to do to get a grade? So here on the syllabus, we have this. I think I noted in an earlier email to you that there's information in the syllabus that you will also find on the Blackboard site, and you might also find on MindTap. I duplicate this information intentionally. Because we are not together, and I don't have a way of looking you in the eye and seeing whether or not something is clicking at any moment, I have provided important information in a variety of different formats so that hopefully you will be able to find it in one of those formats over the course of our 4 weeks. But here we have specifically lined out in the syllabus, and it's a good place to go back and check if you ever have questions, the general assignments that will be required for your class. We start out with attendance and participation, which seems a little strange in an online class that does not meet synchronously. But it's been my experience that students get a whole lot more out of the class if there's a moment at which they can begin to answer questions and be forced to verbally assess what it is they're learning vis-a-vis other people, the other students and myself. And so I have found 2 times that we are all available. No, let me rephrase that. There are 2 times that at least that I'm available both, and some of you are available each of those times. Thursday morning at 9 o'clock and Friday morning at 9 o'clock, when we will in fact have a Zoom session. You can choose which of those you attend. Attendance is not required, but you will be penalized 25 points for any absence over the first absence. So that probably should be an incentive. And as a plus incentive, while you don't get, there are points allocated for this, you get 5 points extra credit for every class you attend. It's only 30 to 45 minutes. I will send you information in advance for some of the things we might talk about, but it's also a chance for you to ask questions about the assignments and about any information in the text that is not making sense to you, or about anything you've seen out there in the real world in the news that applies potentially to what we're talking about, and you would like to explore that in more detail. Okay? There's one other thing I want to talk about that is not graded before we move on to the graded elements. When I show you the course material for the 4 weeks, you will see that for each chapter there are a series of worksheets, 2 to 4 of them I think for each chapter. They are not graded. You don't have to complete them, but they are a really good way of assessing whether or not you have learned what you just read in a chapter. And they also help to prepare you for the quizzes and the exams that will be graded that week. It has been my experience that students who take the time to do the worksheets do better on both the quizzes and the exams. So I encourage you to do so, although these are not a graded portion of the class. Okay? Now, what is graded are what Cengage calls brief hypotheticals. I call them quiz. They're a set of 10 to 15 questions that are presented at the end of each chapter. There's a quiz for each chapter. That means there are 12 of them. I will take the 10 highest grades for the 100-point total. And because of the way this is set up, it's pretty clear that you should be able to get close to your full 100 points because you get 2 chances to take them. There's no time limit. You can take as much time as you want, and it's open book. So students do pretty well on these and come close to getting 90 to 100 points out of this portion of the class. Okay? Please remember that this, like all of the assignments, must be done by 11 p.m. on the week they are assigned, so that the quizzes for chapters 1, 2, and 3 must be completed by 11 o'clock on Friday, July 10th. At that point, it's going to close off and you start the next week's work. Okay? Because we move so fast, I can't let you fall behind. You're welcome to work ahead, but you cannot fall behind. So be really clear about those 11 o'clock Friday deadlines, okay? Remember, when you're doing the quizzes, when you're trying to access the textbook, anything you want to get into in MindTap, you need to enable pop-ups on your computer or you will not be able to get to them. More often than not, I have students who will call me early on in the class say, I can't access the material. And the primary reason that this is the case is because they haven't enabled pop-ups on their computer. There are ways that I can help to show you how to do that. We'll talk about that. Should you need it, you can contact me. Okay? There are then an exam. In addition to the 3 quizzes each week, you will also have an exam at the end of the week, which is a compilation of the material you've studied in the 3 chapters. Material from the worksheets and from the quizzes will reappear on the exams. These will be timed, and you only get 1 chance to take them, but they are open book. So there are 50 questions. They're multiple choice, and I think true, false. And you have 1 hour to complete them. Okay, so they're open book. You're limited to an hour, and so once you sit down to take it, you should be prepared to take it through to the end. My experience has been I go through and I retake these every time just to see how I'm doing and make sure the questions are still making sense, that they haven't changed questions that don't make as much sense. That obviously I know the material, I hope, better than you will, but it doesn't take me anywhere near the 60 minutes. And so you should have plenty of time to take a deep breath, find the answers to the questions if you're not quite clear, use the textbook, and use this as a way to assess what you're learning and to help to reinforce the material that you have learned throughout the course of that week. Okay? So there's 500 points of the 1,000 points toward this class. The other assignments are, in fact, writing assignments of some sort. 25 points each week will be assessed toward the discussion board on Blackboard. It's hard to recreate any kind of a discussion in an asynchronous course like this, but at least this gives us an ability to have some minimal conversation with each other. And I will ask that you will post a news article or articles about something that has happened during the week and comment upon that, something that has happened that is related to the material that we're reading in the class. I will post an article for the first week to get discussion going, and I will respond to your articles as you post them. You will be encouraged to both post your own and respond to the articles that others have posted. There's a more thorough discussion of this assignment and of all the assignments, as well as a grading rubric that will be posted on Blackboard that I can show you in a moment, okay? But this really is a way for us to get to have some connection, to try and make some connection between what's going on in the real world to what it is that we're studying in class, okay? The discussion board for each week will go live. I think I have it set for 1 o'clock on Saturday morning and then closes that next Friday at 11. So you'll have a full week in order to do that. I apologize for the motorcycle noise. It's important to remember that you probably not all wait till Friday at 5 o'clock to do your posting, because you get graded both on posting your own work and commenting on others. And if nobody's posted anything, it's kind of hard to comment. So I encourage you to consider doing this throughout the course of the week. Okay. Now there's another 200 points that is allocated, 50 points per week, to what I'm calling video reaction papers. On MindTap, within the chapters, at least one per week, some weeks 3, I have chosen videos that you will watch that the publisher has prepared. They're a little cheesy, but they're really pretty good, and they raise some really good questions, particularly questions about ethical principles, I think. You will watch the video. I have assigned a question for each video, and I will ask you to reflect on that question in a 1 to 2 page paper. You'll be graded on the quality of your writing, the depth of your analysis, and probably most importantly, the degree to which your answer incorporates what you have learned from the reading that week and shows me that you have learned what the text has presented to you. Okay. Again, a fuller description of this assignment at a grading rubric can be found on Blackboard, and we'll show you that in a moment. For any written assignment like this, please, you'll be able to turn it in on the Blackboard site, and you've probably done that through other courses, but I will show that to you. And I want these submitted as a Word doc, not a PDF, not a Pages, not an RTF, but a Word document, please, as an attachment to the assignment link each week. I do a lot of track changes and comments when I grade, and so that's much easier for me to do in Word. And just common sense tells you that you always want your grader to be happy. So doing that keeps me happy, so that's probably a good thing. One other thing to note, when you watch these videos, there will also be then a series of questions that come at the end of that video. You're welcome to answer them. They will test your knowledge of the material that you have just viewed, but those will not be graded. That's not part of the grading. Okay. One other written assignment is called the Applied Business Law assignment. You again will do 1 paper a week. And in this case, you will choose during the first week of our class a business. It could be a real business, it could be a hypothetical business, a fictional business that you would like to create, that you would either like to own or manage. Because after you've chosen it and described it to me a little bit during the first week, during the next 3 weeks, you will think about something that we studied during the course of the week and how that material that we've studied would apply to the business that you're creating. So that if you create a business and then we discuss contracts, you might want to talk that week about the kind of contracts that you might be engaged in writing, signing, and participating in the course of the business that you are running. Okay. Again, a fuller description of this can in fact be found on the Blackboard site. You'll get 25 points potentially each week for this assignment. And last but not least, the last written assignment is an alumni interview. I haven't done this one before because in the past I've asked students to do a field study, but that's really not possible in our present pandemic. And so I contacted lawyers who are Susquehanna alums who I have known over the years, and many of them, actually more than we need for this class, agreed to be a part of this. I will ask that you interview 2 of them, and that you in fact then summarize that interview and submit it to me by the very last day of class is when it's due. You can do it in advance of that, but that is in fact the deadline for it. A fuller description of this is included on Blackboard again. A couple of things to think about in this assignment. Number 1, you might want to not do it the first week because we won't have covered enough material for you necessarily to connect what we're studying to your interview, and that's a part of the expectation. The other thing to bear in mind that a portion of this will be based on your professionalism, on the degree to which you do things in a timely manner, on the degree to which you show professionalism in your interaction with the alumni attorney, contacting them in a reasonable way, writing them a thank you note. I'm not asking them to grade you, but I am opening up the possibility to the alums that they can contact me if they would like to give me some feedback on the degree of professionalism you have shown in your interaction with them. These are busy people, but really good alums who are very happy to give back in any way that they can. Many of them took this course at some point during their life at Susquehanna. I know them because I was the pre-law advisor at Susquehanna for almost 20 years, and so I know a lot of these students and had them in class. I think you'll find this to be an enjoyable assignment. We'll talk more about this throughout the course of the next couple of weeks. Okay. Now, I'm going to move here from the syllabus to our Blackboard site. And I do believe when you first sign onto your Blackboard site that this is the page you'll be taken to, okay? There are 4 learning modules, 1 for each week, and actually there are 2 for the first week because I will ask you to start there. So that once you click on the learning module, you will have 4, in this instance 4, and there's more, elements pop up that you should probably do in consecutive order. It only makes sense. There's a lovely picture of me teaching my Go class in the south of France, which was a great experience. And an introduction that I've given you just a little bit of information about myself. There's another that are tips on doing well in this course, and so something you might want to read quickly and pay attention to. There's a copy of the syllabus attached, and this video will be attached as soon as it is in fact completed. Okay. Learning modules for weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4 look very similar to each other. Let me start with, I'm going to go to week 2 because there's something here I want to show you. Each week you're going to get this little reminder first. Don't forget to post on the discussion board and complete your applying business law assignment each week. You can do that at any point during the week. So these are just reminders. And then again, the discussion board assignment, here's a copy of the assignment, okay, with the description of it. Apply business law, here's a copy of where you will submit it, okay. The rubric is available there. This is the way you will attach a file, a Word document, which is a submission. And this is from the assignment description what it is you're expected to do. Again, this is an abbreviated portion. You can always go back to this link, assignment descriptions, where you will find a fuller description of each and every one of the written assignments and what my expectations are. It probably makes sense to read those before you do your first assignment, just a suggestion. Back to the learning modules here. Once you get through that, then each week is going to look the same. For each week, chapters 4, 5, and 6 during the second week, you will have a link to be able to launch the ebook. You will have a link in this instance to a video that I have done. There's one each week that is a supplement to the information that the text provides, information that I think it is helpful for you to have a little more context, to fill in a little bit more background. This will link you to that. Then here, each of the worksheets, you will see that I talked about the ungraded worksheets. If you click on the worksheet, it should take you to Mind Tab. There we go. The first time you click on that, you will be asked to submit your access code. After that, you should be taken directly to the site. Now, when I clicked on that, it didn't take me just to our page. It takes me right to the quiz, okay? And you can start the assignment now. I'll take you to the Mind Tab page in just a second, show what it looks more generally. Here's the 3 worksheets. Here's a video for, this will take you to the video exercise that I talked about. When you click to launch, you will view the video in preparation to answer this following question. There's the question. And when you click on here, it takes you to, it'll take you to the, you have to go back to your Mind Tab page. And there's the video. Again, this one's, I don't know, about 5 minutes long, I think. Okay. Write the question and submit it. The video shows you the video and then the video response where you can upload it. You might note here that those things that are graded that require uploading have stars in front of them, so you're aware of that. I think I need to go back and put stars by the discussion board in the applied business law. I will do that so that it's clearer to you. And then there's the graded quiz. I'm not going to submit anything here. Okay. Again, click to launch. That will take you to the graded quiz, the 10-point quiz. It takes you to the page. You can open it when you're ready and take it when you're ready. And again, all the way through to the test, which is the last thing you will do. The reason I wanted to show you week 2 is because there are, in fact, 3 videos available this week. You only need to grade one of them. I mean, you only need to write a response on one of them. So video exercise 4.1, video exercise 5.1, and video exercise 6.3. You can watch all 3 of them. They're only a few minutes, but you only need to answer the question on one of them. I just wanted to give you some options. I thought all 3 of them were pretty good. Okay. The material on the side here, so the learning modules, you really can move point by point through each of these items through the week. It does look like a lot, but it's reading. What it entails actually is an applying business law assignment each week, participating on discussion board each week, reading 3 chapters and doing the worksheets and the quizzes for those chapters, doing 1 video response and doing the test. I think if you're somewhat organized about it, you should be able to complete the material. It's listed here on the learning modules. You will find that it is also listed in that order on your syllabus. So that might be helpful if you want to print out a copy of that and keep a checklist of what you're doing. That's probably the way I would do it. Here on the left-hand side of the Blackboard site, you'll find the learning modules. There's another link to the syllabus if you need to download it. Information here again on accessing the text and where to go for technology troubleshooting. Here's where the discussion board will be. There's obviously only one for week 1 at the moment, but I will develop the others as the weeks progress, where you will submit, create a thread. And in that thread, you'll put a subject line, and you will include a link to the news article, or cut and paste it into the and a discussion of your news article. Okay. Here's the information to MindTap. If you just wanted to go to our MindTap information directly and kind of work through that, you could. When you go to MindTap, loading content up here, this is what the entire page looks like. Unit 1, Chapter 1, read the chapter, worksheets, brave hypotheticals, Chapter 2, same information, Chapter 3, same information. Okay. As you're going through the learning modules, you probably won't need to use this format, but you're certainly welcome to. You will note that we don't cover every chapter in the book. We cover 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 12, 13, 16, and 17. Partially, this is the beauty of being the instructor. I get to choose the things I find most interesting. But I also have chosen the things that I think are most important for you fundamentally and that you might not get in another class at Susquehanna. So there is, for instance, a chapter on intellectual property, one on environmental law, one on international law, all of which I think are really important. But those are also courses that you can take, and as business majors, many of them you will take at Susquehanna. And so I try to choose those things that you might not get elsewhere. Okay, was kind of my goal. That's a quick summary of what it is we're going to cover over the next 4 weeks. I encourage you to be in touch with me if you have any questions at all. And I look forward to seeing you, hopefully, at least on the computer screen, at our first synchronous class next week. Thanks a lot for your time.